Okay. Good evening. Good evening. How y'all doing today? It's me, Charles, down there back again with another episode of Go Hard or Go Home. Okay. Today we're gonna be doing some talk about the Social Security Administration. Um, like I say, I'm a big advocate for veterans and especially people in Social Security Administration. I like to advocate for Americans myself. I believe, I was in the military. It's a good country, but just sometimes they don't treat you right. You know what I'm saying? They got some rules that are on your side that you don't know about, and those kind of things I'm trying to get out by doing things like this. Um, I've been dealing with Social Security Administration myself for a few people, and for myself also. Um, these guys, just like the VA, yeah, it's like pulling teeth. Okay, uh, they can have you in long, drawn out process, you know what I'm saying, where you waiting for years and you don't really know what's going on. What we want to do is start taking away some of that uncertainty. Because even though you got to wait them years, you should know what's going on. You should know that by their rules, that what they have, they got to come back with this. And how do you do that? You start with their playbook in your hand. Okay. Uh, they have a little listing of disabilities, just like how the VA has. But the most important thing I think I found about the Social Security Administration, let me get my notes here, is see they also fall up on the Code of Federal Regulations. It's the same way that the VA does. So they've got these federal rules the same way. All right. One of the main ones, and I got to pull it up my phone here. I'm going to read some of it off to you guys so I'm going to tell you guys what the reasons why this is important. And this is the best thing to start with. A good understanding of CFR 416945. This is where if you're going up against the Social Security Administration, you need to start here. Why do I need to start here? Well, the Social Security Administration they had like a 5-step process to determine whether or not you're disabled. Okay, the first 4 steps of that, they're on you. That's pretty much turning in your medical records and making sure that everything, they got everything you need to do that says you're disabled and all the letters from your doctors and such like that. So the first 4 steps of burden of proof is on you. And that 5th step, this residual functional capacity thing comes into play. At this point, it is burden of proof shifts from you to the Social Security Administration. Now, they got to prove that even if you are disabled, you're not too disabled to go to work, or you're not too disabled to the point where you're going to have problems with your coworkers and stuff like that when you do go to work. So they can't just tell you this. They can't just sit there and say what I think. It has to be medically proven, all this kind of stuff. So, but why is 416945 so important? Because this tells you how they have to assess your residual functional capacity. Okay. It tells you impairments and any related symptoms such as pain may cause physical and mental limitations that affect what you can do in a work setting. And your residual functional capacity is the most you can still do despite your limitations. And we will assess your residual functional capacity based on all the relevant evidence in your case record. So basically, they have to take all the evidence that you got in your case, and they got to evaluate it. Now, the real trick, and here's another one, a part 2 that I think makes it the most important. On part 2, it tells you if you have more than one impairment, we will consider all of your medically determinable impairments of which we are aware, including your medically determinable impairments that are not severe. So even if you don't have severe impairments, they still got to count that, and they still got to determine how it's going to be. So you see, knowing rules like this will make it a little bit easier on people. They think this stuff is that hard. It's really not. When you start looking at their rules, it's pretty much basically if you could take the evidence that you're disabled and that disability is going to cause you problems at work, they got to pay you. It's pretty much that simple. Where your problem comes in is the same thing like with the VA. You don't have rules like this, but you got them at your fingertips. You ain't gonna be able to see that because that phone's glaring and stuff like that. You got them at your fingertips because you got it on your phone, but nobody talks about this kind of stuff. A good understanding of this rule with a person that's doing Social Security is fire, because you put it, you're going to be asking them a question based on you understanding what they have to do. A lot of people that got problems with those Social Security things, it winds up coming out to this rule right here. They're assessing your residual functional capacity outside the realm of what your records actually say. That's what winds up being most people's case, because whoever such and such is on your case, they think this. But rules like this, you can easily go back at them and be like, hey, blah blah. It's a lot more rules that are involved in this. Like I said, I'm using a lot of them myself now. But this was the most important one that I think I found as far as dealing with people and helping them out with their situations. An understanding of this rule, and you get to read more of it. It tells you what the evidence they use. It tells you that before they can make a determination that you're not disabled, they are responsible for developing your complete medical history, including arranging for a consultative examination if necessary and making every reasonable effort to get medical reports from your own medical sources. You know what I'm saying? They tell you exactly what they're gonna do. We would consider any statements about what you can still do that have been provided by medical sources. See, you know everything that they're telling you, everything that they need right here in this rule. If you have all these things, there's nothing they're going to be able to say. This helps you to be able to build yourself up. You have your case right to what they need it to be. That way they ain't got to look for nothing. They ain't got to try to find nothing else. Hey, this is what y'all said. This is the best place for a person that's doing Social Security to start. If you're having problems with Social Security Administration, you need to start here. It will tell you exactly, you'll be able to go and look at your packet, and whatever they're talking about you don't have, you're going to either know if you got it there. Yes, I do have it. You said you need this. Yes, it is. It's right here. Somebody couldn't find it. This kind of stuff helps a lot of people. It's essentially what your lawyer does in the end. They go to these rules and they get all the stuff that the rule says they need, and at that point, there's nothing they can do. So they have to go ahead and do your thing with you. So, as far as today, I think as far as going hard to go home, um, if you're doing Social Security, if you've got problems with Social Security, you're thinking about filing Social Security, I would start with this rule. I will go to this CFR 416.945, read over all of it. They go down telling you the evidence they want. They're telling you everything, what they will consider, uh, how they're gonna consider it, everything. So that's why it's a good place to start. That's why it's a good place to start. If you go there and you get this rule and you get looking at it, you go to reading it, or if you have an advocate, they need to read that rule you'll be able to go ahead and make sure that when you turn your stuff in, that everything they say they need is in there. You won't have to be going back trying to get uh, this piece of paper or that right there. Because I mean, like, you missing one thing out of here. You know, you dealing with the federal government at that point too. See, when we're doing the thing with the VA, we understand what that is, but people that are civilians that are just dealing with Social Security may not understand that. It takes a long time to get something through these guys, a long time. So if you already got your stuff right in the first place, you really don't have any, it's the wait. It'll pretty much be the wait. But if you're going to do anything with Social Security, I will start here. And stay tuned for more. I'm going to have more rules in here because, like I say, I got some people that have issues. And I want to bring up some of those issues and talk about those issues and how I'm helping to resolve that issue. This is actually helping a person to resolve the issue now because they were denying this person and basically they've got all the information, but the people that are looking at it, they just don't see it that way. This usually winds up being your case. That the people that are looking at it don't see it that way. You have to go back at them with the rules. This is a good place to start because, hey, I gave you everything that you said you needed. That's the first thing you need to be able to say. Secondly, we're going to get into later on what to do when you have everything there and then they don't want to look at, say, certain disabilities. There's a rule for that. So we'll get into that later on. But for right now, a person that's starting out with the Social Security, they need to be understanding this. And it's going to tell you how to build your packet. It's going to tell you exactly what they want from you and everything that they will assess. So, I mean, if you make sure you got all that before you get there, there ain't really too much they can say. So go hard or go home and make sure they go hard or go home too. They're gonna try to, saying blah, 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 but you go hard on them. Make them go home. That's what I do. So hey, and if y'all got questions about what I'm talking about today, let me know. Leave me comments. I get back with the comments and everything. Like I say, I'm trying to get as information out as many people as possible and help as many people as possible I can with the rules that I do know. And there'll be even more of them that it's like about 2 or 3 more rules I'm gonna talk about that really help when you're dealing with a Social Security case. But this is the main one because you have a real problem with them not wanting to assess your history. You gotta make sure they got all of it. All of it. So we'll talk about that later on and in depth. Y'all hit like and subscribe. And if you got any comments or any questions, or you're working on some Social Security, some Social Security rules that we might need to talk about, let me know. And I will, I do stuff about that too because, help is help. And what I'm here to do is try to help people. So y'all have a good day. And I'll talk to y'all later. And thank y'all very much for paying attention. Hit like, subscribe. Thank y'all very much.